Hey everyone, it's I'm Jackie from JackieEllis.com. The tricks of the mind. The mind is pretty tricky. It can spew some pretty powerful illusions, spin some weird stuff. Um, but when you think about it, it's got years of years of old patterns and built up energy and um, habits that it created in order to get you to where you are now, right? So it doesn't like change very much. It likes to know what it knows, and it likes things that keep you comfortable. But that doesn't always mean that it's actually the healthiest thing for you. So when you're on this journey of discovering who the real you is, when you're on this journey and you are making changes to old habits, to old patterns, and you know what you're doing is healthy, you know what you're doing is the right thing in the long run, your brain can actually bring up things that seem fearful. It can bring up thoughts that make you think, make you doubt that what you're doing is actually the right thing to be doing. It's pretty tricky. It's pretty tricky. So the pattern last week, the patterns that we saw last week were based around healing opportunities around what you love, your worth, what you're willing to sacrifice. And this week there's lots of healing opportunities around boundaries, healthy boundaries. It's a perfect opportunity this week to try and feel into your lower chakras for how to work through how to feel your intuition through your lower chakras and know with what you feel you need to do. Know that the healthy changes that you're making are actually resonating deep within you. So there's been some comments from people. People are being triggered. They're using terms like energy vampires, and they're using terms like feels like people are just take, and they're completely triggered by it. And so there's lots of talks about I need to put up a protective boundary, and I need to protect myself, and yes, you want to make sure that your energy is your energy. And yes, you want to make sure that you're not energetically absorbing anyone else's stuff, any of their muck, but the only way that it can actually, there's two things that are happening. One, you have a chakra that is completely wide open, blocked open, and it's absorbing everything in its pathway. Or two, you're interacting with the person and energetically you are taking on their stuff. It's like you're giving them an energetic hug and you're bringing them in close and you're like, oh, honey, I need to fix you. Instead of just standing there going, I'm here for you. I am listening and I'm creating space for you and I'm empowering you and I'm trusting that the universe has your back just as the universe had my back. And energetically, they're very different. Because the first one, where you're like bringing them in close and you're like trying to fix their problems, their energy is now going in you and it's settling within you, and all of a sudden you'll wake up the next day and you'll be like angry. You'll have self-confidence issues. Wherever it settles within your body, that's where you're gonna like start getting triggered again, and all of a sudden you're like, why am I so mad today? Why am I like doubting myself? Why am I triggered all of a sudden? Why are these old patterns coming up that I haven't had to deal with in a long time? It's because you had accepted other people's energy and it doesn't belong to you. It's not yours. You need to release that. And what I do is I actually I envision a grounding tube going to the center of the earth from me, and I envision all of that yuck going down and being alchemized by Mother Earth. I give it to Mother Earth. It's a gift for her. So so that's the first thing when, like, for energy. When it comes to energy and absorbing someone's energy, it's because you've got a blocked chakra and it's blocked open and things are coming in, right? B, it's because energetically you went into powerlessness, and absorbed some of their energy. Okay. On the flip side, if you're triggered by something, like you're feeling like it's take, your energy is being like, there's take, and you're triggered by that, then it's quite possible that that is a healing opportunity for you. And the healing opportunity is, where are you giving? And why are you giving? So I've had two situations. I've had personally, where at first I was giving out of a need to please other people, out of a need to avoid upsetting the apple cart, out of a need for, a fear of losing that relationship, or trying not to be rude, or trying not to be, hurtful, or whatever, right? And that came up in discussion actually this week, with a few different people, because they felt like either they were giving away too much, or they were just getting attacked by people that just were clinging and like wouldn't leave them alone, and and they just didn't know how they didn't know what to do without being rude. Well, you don't have to be rude. You don't have to be rude. And I sat with it for a bit and I was like, well, okay, so kind of related it to when my kids were little. When my kids were little and they were like, mommy, 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 mommy. You know, you get home from work and it's mommy, 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 because they haven't seen you all day. Well, mommy had a lot of stuff on her plate. She had her day at work that she still hadn't like dealt with, and then there was all stuff to be done, and the mummy, 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 it was a little much some days. And I found myself that it being too much was affecting me as a mother. I found that I was yelling lots, and not because they had done anything wrong, but because I hadn't dealt with my own stuff. I wasn't dealing with my own stuff. So how I handled that situation is I actually put myself on a mommy timeout, and I would tell my kids, mommy needs a timeout. Right? Or I'd tell my kids, you know, my patients were this big, and now they're the size of a pea. And that would actually, I was communicating in a way that they understood. And so I got thinking about that, and I said to the people that I was talking about, I said, you know, why couldn't we, if we can talk to our kids and tell them, you know, listen, mommy needs a timeout, or mommy needs a break, or, you know, I need some space, or, you know, my patients are like getting thin. If we can say those things to our kids, why can't we say stuff to an adult that is, we feel is like coming at us, and 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 we need we need time to process, right? Without being rude. It's not like talk to the hand. It's I hear you. I understand you. I get where you're coming from. But right now, in this moment, my mental health state, I can't talk about it right now. And this could be any subject, right? If you mentally cannot process or be able to energetically, if energetically you don't want to engage in this conversation anymore, then why can't we be honest with other adults about that? Why can't we just say, you know what? Can we change the subject? I understand you're going through this and it's a rough time right now, but I feel like we've talked about this a lot already, and if you're okay, like I need to change the subject for my own well-being. And if they don't understand, then you can say, you know what, okay, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to end this conversation. And you can confidently leave the room. Because you are master of your space. And at that point, because you've spoke your truth. You said, I can't do this right now for my own mental health. I can't do this. Why can't we be that honest with people? It's not about judging what they're talking about. It's not about not giving them the space that they need. It's like it's also standing in your truth and knowing that you need to also take care of you too. And when you feel that your own personal boundaries are being stretched too far, it's finding a way to tell that person, I can't do this right now. I'm sorry. This is me. It's completely me. But I can't do this right now. And you can do that. I know you can do that in a way that's not rude, not angry, that is energetically standing in your divine masculine. When we are like the video topic is the mind is tricky, the brain is tricky, right? So I've had the situation where I was feeling like I was giving, or I feel like people were taking. My trigger, my healing opportunity was that I was giving. And like I mentioned before, at first it was because I was modulating what I was doing, how I was acting, what I was saying in order to please the other person. Completely in my heart chakra. Okay? But it also affected my sacral because my sacral is about boundaries. Right? So it stemmed from my lower chakras but had fed up into my heart chakra. The flip side, and this is what happened for me personally last week. There was a couple lessons. So my brain hit me twice on the same thing. Sort of. There was, last week's video, there was, I talked about the invasion and the lesson around that, but I didn't really discuss the other lesson. My brain also tried to tell me that I was giving too much. That's what it tried to tell me, that I was giving too much. Giving. So that's that's what my brain was saying. It's not that my brain was saying that I was that they were taking. The brain was telling me that I was giving. And I was like, what are you talking about? Is this a window or is it a mirror? Meaning that, is it a window? Meaning, is this my spirit guides? Is this universe telling me that I am giving too much? Or is this a mirror with a different lesson? And it was a mirror. So how I figured that out was I listened to what my brain had been telling me. And I sat with it around the examples that it was showing me. And I sat with it, and in each situation that my brain was convinced that I was giving too much in those situations. In each situation, I was divinely guided by universe to give in those situations. So, I have spent a considerable amount of time giving myself space to be able to learn how to live in a healthier way, to listen to what universe wants me to do, and know when to take action and what actions I need to take. I am learning, and really now I'm dancing. I'm letting my divine feminine, divine masculine dance, and I'm living in divine flow. And my brain is trying to tell me that I'm doing it wrong. My brain is trying to tell me, wait a minute, you don't have enough control over the situation. See where the control fits in? That's our lower chakras, in powerlessness. When we feel like we need to control everything, we are in powerlessness. And my brain was trying to tell me this. My brain was trying to tell me that I had lost control and that was a problem. I haven't lost control. I have surrendered to control. I have surrendered to universe so that I could live in a divine flow, which is less struggle and more easy life. It's following my divine purpose, following my divine path. And so I did a truth rant on that. And the thing about the truth rant is when I actually stepped into the truth rant, I didn't put the connection together that of my brain trying to tell me I had lost control and that I was actually divinely guided. I stepped into the truth rant and started with my normal life affirmations. I'm master of my space. I'm master of my time. Then all of a sudden the other divine words from universe came through that yes, I was divinely guided to give in those situations. So when I'm divinely guided to give in those situations, I'm not sacrificing my worth. I'm not sacrificing my time. I'm not sacrificing my space. And when I heard myself say those words in my truth rant, I went, oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Is this what's been going on? My brain's been trying to tell me that I'm actually doing something wrong, but I'm doing everything right? The brain is tricky. So when you're thinking about if you're working in mindfulness, when you're tapping in to what you're saying or what your brain's trying to tell you, and you're hearing those thoughts, you can't always believe them. But when you're being mindful, being like I even had someone today. I had a conversation with someone today, and she said every time I think about being more mindful, my brain starts spewing stuff about how I'm like putting walls up and I have to like protect myself and all this negative stuff keeps coming out. I'm like, you need to truth rant that stuff. Because your brain's trying to tell you that doing mindfulness is actually losing control over the situation. Well, you're not losing control over anything. When you're being mindful, you're actually living a healthier life. The brain is tricky. And it's not doing anything, I had someone ask, try, ask if the brain can be like almost like a bully, like when you're doing a truth rant, you're talking to the brain like it's a bully. No. No. Your brain has learned habits around energy that we have held within our bodies, that we inherited in our bodies, that from generations and generations and past life and all of that. And it is only doing what it can. It has only done what it could with the information that it was given. It is not a bully. It is just doing the best that it can. It did the best that it could with the information that it had. And that's all it's trying to do now. But our job is to hold on to them, hold on to the brain and go, I've got you. We're going to learn some new habits, some healthier habits. In truth. And we're going to sort through all this illusion so then we're not burdened by any of that illusion anymore. And you're going to do it all in love. Love for yourself. It's all about loving yourself enough to do that. So, brain is tricky. And it can spew some weird stuff. I've had some people say some weird things to me, and I'm like, okay, did you hear what you just said? And they're like, yeah, I don't know where that came from. Exactly. So if you find yourself, you worked a certain way, you acted a certain way, you had certain habits for so many years, and then you made the conscious decision to make healthier habits, do healthier habits, and now your brain is starting to like lock down and try and hold on to control and tell you that you aren't controlling anything anymore, and it's freaking out and it's panicking because it doesn't know what's beyond the unknown. You're entering unknown territory now, and it is freaking out. It has had so much control over situations and patterns and habits for so long that it now cannot comprehend it. That pathway's like down a foggy way. It's like I don't know what's there, and it's freaking out. But those healthy habits are healthy. You were guided divinely by universe to live a healthier life. Where you were guided divinely by universe to take these steps. So now you just need to like work with the brain and say, you know what? This is what I've been guided. I know what I'm doing because this is what I've been guided to do. I can't go backwards. We have to go forwards. And universe has our back. And eventually the brain will start to like, but you may have to do some truth rants. You may have to do some truth rants to start alchemizing that energy. But every time you are mindful enough to think about the thoughts, you address the thoughts the brain is thinking. So the brain will spin and spin those thoughts and those feelings towards you to get your attention. But if you just kind of like shove it aside, shove it aside, shove it aside, it's like a toddler. It's like it's going to keep coming at you until it knows it's been heard. And it's just going to keep coming at you worse. So, first time you notice it, you go, I hear you, brain. I understand what you're trying to tell me. But I already know it's an illusion. And you will submit to truth. And that's you telling your brain that energetically you are done with illusion. You are done with the lies. You are done with the bullshit. And you are ready to live life with truth. Live in your divine power. And when you can do that, then the next thing you do is you actually, like, I would write down all of the stuff the brain's telling you without judgment. And then what I do is I will look at the light mastery map that you can download from my website. And you can see where those thoughts are in powerlessness. And where they're in powerlessness, use the living truths to help affirm the truth and alchemize the powerlessness energy. The flip side, if you choose to do an action instead of a truth rant, well, truth rant is taking action. But if it's actually doing something different than you have been doing, that also works, right? Sometimes you have to do both a truth rant and an action. But if you're taking an action, you want to make sure that you understand where you are in powerlessness so you can decide which action is best to make sure that you're doing the action in power, in your divine power. Now, the best direction for which action to take is actually when you listen to your divine feminine, because she'll tell you what action you need to take. That's what she does. And then in our divine masculine, that's when we take the actions. We do the actions that divine feminine tells us. The brain is tricky. And it's looking at the patterns of the thoughts that you're having. It is looking at them from the point of view of a mirror sometimes, but it's also understanding how the brain works and knowing that what it's saying is an illusion. Right? Whatever you're going through right now, you've got it. You've got this. I know you do. I know you do. And how do I know that? Because I've seen this enough in other people and myself to know that we've got this. The fact that you're watching this and you're seeing this, and you're listening to this, and you've continued listening to this moment right now, you've already started alchemizing the stuff that you're working through right now, because you're choosing to heal. You're choosing to figure out how to heal even more. And that is powerful. That is powerful. Okay. I'm going to get off my soapbox. You have a lovely week. I am probably going to be on here again later this week, because I have been guided to talk more about divine feminine, divine masculine this week. So for the rest of the afternoon, though, I'm going to do some more writing in my book. But if you have any questions or comments, drop them in below, and I'll answer them. DM me with a private message, and we can chat. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.